Cool. Welcome to the Muju Business Podcast, where our goal is to provide as much value to entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm Dylan, and this is Steve, and today's podcast is on the topic of clouds and dirt, which is a phrase we got from Gary Vaynerchuk, which is a pretty successful business and entrepreneur in general. There's a lot of content online. And, the general theme of clouds and dirt is kind of the difference of, looking at the long-term, big picture, future, somewhat spacey goals, which are clouds, and then the dirt, which is the actual nitty-gritty. How do we get this done? How do we go from A to B? How do we solve the problems of today? So I think for us, the first thing is really try to understand how to which one you lean more towards. I think some people tend to be one or the other, and I think for us, I would say I'm a little more clouds and you're a little more dirt, right? And so I think like anything, you should focus on what you're good at, but you should also make sure you have someone to help you on the other side, and also adopt an attitude of making sure you focus on the other side too, right? Don't be all one way.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, even if you don't have a partner or a mentor to kind of bounce those ideas off of, at least being self-aware and saying, okay, like for me personally, I'm more of a dirt guy.
Yeah.
But that comes with a tendency to being a little more cynical about things.
Yes.
And when I start to think about the future, I think about all that could go wrong versus what could go right.
Right.
But knowing that about myself, I'm able to check myself as I'm starting to have those thoughts and say, all right, dude, chill. Just think about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and for you, I'm assuming
I'm the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little too optimistic, and I tend to think about the long-term things and what we could do and what's important, and not think as much about the day-to-day and making sure we get some of the things done that have to get done. So I think it's good to make sure you if you don't have a partner to balance yourself out, that you like you said, you check yourself to understand that it's not as simple as just like, oh, think about the long-term and how great everything's going to be. It's like, yeah, well, we still got to get there, and we got to walk through the day-to-day of what's that like.
And you can't just grind through every single day thinking that action is going to be productive.
Right, because you could be going nowhere and you have no idea. If you never went to the clouds, you say, geez, like I just did all this work for no reason, just to kind of find out that I could have went right when I went left, right? And I'd be in a much better place. It'd be easier, and I'd actually be doing better, and would have achieved my goal a lot faster than if I do what I was exactly doing just then.
Yeah, using the analogy of someone who is running in a circle gets nowhere fast. Person who just walks slowly forward will get way farther with way less effort because they had some direction with their action.
Yeah, and I think for most business leaders and entrepreneurs and people in general, right? Like you just kind of get bogged down with the day-to-day and you're busy. So what we try to do is make sure that you set that time on your schedule to be, very clouds. Even if you're like me and you are, you focus on the clouds a lot, and you do too. It's not like you don't think about it, but to really like set that time aside to say, we're just going to talk long-term vision. I'm just going to think about, something in the long term. Don't you think that's a really big deal, and people should definitely do that?
For sure. Yeah. I absolutely do. And I also think having some sort of goal setting activity. So for us, like we went off of a book called Traction, the Entrepreneurial EOS, but they have like the 10,000 foot meeting where you talk about the 10-year vision, the 3-year picture, which are more clouds, and then the 1-year goal and 3-month or quarterly rocks, which are more dirt. And that's a great way to separate the clouds and the dirt, but also keep them in alignment.
Yeah. I also think too, don't be afraid if you're, maybe on the dirt side, and I'm definitely on the cloud side, but there's times where I felt like bogged down and I don't think about it. Don't be afraid to take kind of time on your own to be like as spacey as you can be. Like, don't be afraid to be like a truly creative, like where would I want to go? What could it be? Don't close your mind to just goals. Don't be afraid to just think about things as they could be, and carve time out for that, right? Go listen to a podcast or watch a video about, wow, what would it be like to be in this awesome place? And I think sometimes that sort of aligns you even without thinking about it too. You do have to have those goals that are concrete, but I think don't be afraid to be somewhat abstract and creative. I found that for
sure.
myself. Yeah, that keeps me motivated, right? Because there's a lot of like motivational content, and I think that can be helpful for some people. But for me, when I'm just thinking about the potential, like what I truly would love and what could be, that actually drives me in my day to day more than sometimes just focusing on the goals, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that being said, I also would assume that a lot of people who are listening to this have online mentors or the gurus that you listen to, and also being a little more critical of what side they lean to. Because I would say that you get someone like a Grant Cardone, he leans a little more towards dirt, where it's hard work, grind, all gas, no brakes, don't stop. And then you get like a Tony Robbins that's like, all you have to do is take an ice bath and just meditate into the future.
Right.
You know
they're
what I mean?
both right,
yes.
but it's like a part of Like obviously they're successful because they're right about what they're saying.
Yes.
But it's a piece of the total puzzle for you, and knowing your personality is huge, right?
Well,
because
that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I didn't
No.
mean to take your shine, but you're gonna find which ones make more sense to you, and then don't be afraid to every once in a while go, okay, maybe I'll listen to the side that doesn't jive that much with me.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, because I think with those guys, they obviously lean their one way or the other, but they're not ignoring the other side. You know that.
Oh, of course.
That's how they got to where they are.
Yes.
But if you're a practitioner or an advocate of one of those people, just being like, okay, he knows what he knows, and I am aware that he's looking from this lens versus this one. It's just like if you're listening to the news. You listen to a Democratic station, they're giving you one thing. You listen to a Republican station, they're giving you that end. But to kind of figure out like what's in the middle for you, right?
Yeah, and you might be one way, like you might be really right or left or, a version of that. But, most people that I've met aren't really just extreme one way or the other, and that's true for the clouds and dirt.
Yes.
So you have to make sure you have some semblance of a balance, right, when you're focusing on your day-to-day. Yeah, I think that's a big deal.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks, guys, and until next time.